Hello my little crafty monsters, how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is fabulous! So in today's fabulous tutorial, this is going to be a long video guys, so seriously you guys are going to need to go grab that favorite drink, that little snack, get comfy with your little comfy blanket or whatever it is, and really sit back and watch this video and enjoy it because it's kind of a long video. This is actually for all you cat lovers or all you little pet owners. If you have a little furry baby and you guys would love to make one of these beautiful little play mansions for them, this is the tutorial for you guys. So definitely if you have a cat lover in your family, or you know a family friend or anything that has a cat lover, who is a cat lover, sorry, and would probably love to make one of these for their babies, definitely share this video with them and let them know, because I will show you guys how I did this step by step. Now, there are a few steps that I kind of did leave out, simple steps, because there were steps that, you know, common sense, everybody could figure it out, and I'm gonna explain to you guys how I did it, but I just didn't videotape it because this video is already almost an hour, and you guys definitely don't want to be sitting there for an hour unless it's a movie with like a really hot person in there, right? Like that Aquaman video, guys. Or movie, yeah. So I could sit down for an hour for that. But anyways, guys, so in this video, we're basically going to be making, whoa, let me move. Sorry, guys. We're going to be making this little bad boy right here. Okay. And it's kind of hard to show you guys because it's so huge. But I'm going to explain to you guys more or less kind of what I did that I did not videotape. First of all, the structure of the whole entire building was, this is a regular box, and it was a size medium from Home Depot. And all I did was I cut down the slits on each four corners a little bit, about 2 inches, just so that I can go ahead and meet the two flaps together to create the roof. And then the excess, I went ahead and cut it, and then I glued everything together. So that's basically how I did the actual structure of the box. This box, you just put it together and just do the rooftop. Right here on the side of the house, on one side I put a window, and on this side I put like a little doorway, which is leading to this other little round room here. Now, I didn't want this to be straight, and I didn't want it to just be like a regular like, you know, hallway. I wanted it to be kind of like a little round room sort of. So I basically, what I did was I just cut out the shape that I wanted this room to be, and I cut out 4 of them. Because on the bottom I glued 2 together, and then on the top, which is the roof part, I glued 2 together just to make that cardboard a little bit more sturdier. Then what I did was I grabbed this cardboard and I cut it to the size, the height that I wanted it to be, and then I just hot glued it and shaped it all the way around, putting some reinforcements in the back of each one of these little wood, well, they're not wood, but each one of these little beams, I put another reinforcement in there just in case, you know, just to make the walls a little bit more sturdier. I didn't really do anything to the inside, honestly, because I figured Matthias or Callisto are going to be scratching that, and I didn't want them to be scratching paint chips, even though all the paint that I used on here and all the materials I used on here are basically safe for your babies. But I still didn't want them to go ahead and mess that up and get paint all over the place. Second of all, what I did that I didn't film was when I actually painted the stone to make it look like this. What I did was I got an old sponge, Okay, I think I threw it away, honestly. But I got an old sponge that I used to use to wash the dishes that were no good. It was actually torn and it was just falling apart. But I used that sponge and I brushed the paint on there. You'll see a little clip on how I did that, but you're not going to see the actual video of how I painted it. But I brushed on a light color of gray and then I sponged the whole entire rocks. But I did it so carefully that I wouldn't get this, supposedly the grout part of the house. So I didn't want this part to get painted, so I just did it really lightly to where only the front surface of these little supposedly stones will get painted. Once that dried, I added a little bit black to that same gray to make it a little bit darker, and then I sponged the whole entire thing again, allow that to dry, went a little bit darker, and then sponge the last one. So I did 3 shades of gray, and that was just to give it that little depth, to make it look like the uneven surface of a rock, right? And to give it also the color of the rock. You can do this any other color you guys want. I mean, I've seen brown stones or, you know, limestones or whatever. You guys could really get creative with this. This is just what I decided to do. Also, what I didn't show was I didn't show when I painted this, and I didn't show how I attached this. All I did was I hot glued the one of the little bottom parts onto this, and then I hot glued the side of this onto the actual house. So this is basically super sturdy. I also didn't film gluing the actual fence. This fence part, all I did really was, this is one piece right here, and then from here around is another piece, and I just bent it to form that shape, and I glued it. I probably glued it about 1/2 inch below so that it could really grip onto part of this wall, and I went all the way around. And then what I did was to reinforce this, because this is really sturdy now, I put some popsicle sticks in every one of these gaps in between the little windows. Now, I'm not going to put windows in here. I was originally going to put some of that clear plastic cellophane wrap, but well, not cellophane wrap, but like the acetate. But I didn't do that because Matthias, as you guys already know, Matthias is blind, and Matthias uses a lot of sound, and I felt like not only would I block the sound from him to really hear if something's going on around him, but also if he hears a sharp noise, because he gets very startled with any kind of sharp noises. So if he hears a sharp noise, he won't be bumping in and out of this house trying to get out. He'll have an exit wherever he's at in this little home. He has an exit on the window here, he has a door right here, or he has all these 6 doors right here. I mean, these 6 windows. And then on the top, if he's on top, all he has to do is just jump off. So I didn't really put any of the acetate on there. These little frames right here, they're actually scrap paper, guys. I just use scrap papers. What I did was I grabbed my little trusty scrap papers and I cut them to the size, to whatever size you guys want. I mean, I honestly, I didn't really do too much of the sizes on this video. I will do another video. I want to do like a little circular kind of like a little home, or maybe even a little hotel. That one I will have definitely I will put some measurements on that one. The reason why I didn't on this one was because I started the project, and then as I was making the project, I thought to myself, hey, cardboard is made out of paper, so this is still paper crafting, right? I go, why don't I just film the rest of it? So then I just started filming the rest of it, and now we have this. I basically film everything else on how I did it, how I did the roof. The roof is just paper. It's just black construction paper that I cut like shingles. You know, I'll show you on the video how I cut these. And then what I didn't show you guys is when I got the dry brush with some white and I sparked, I don't know what that's called, little splatting, or I don't know what it's called, but you just get your brush and you just do this little motion. What is this motion called? But anyway, you do that motion and you do like the white all the way around. And then what I did was I added a little tiny bit of black just to make it a little bit gray. And I did this motion again to make more of the little specks. And so this basically looks like they're shingles from a real roofing company, which is awesome. But it's really construction paper, so if Matthias wants to rip it, he can rip it. you know. What else? What else? The hardwood floors, all popsicle sticks. I show you guys a video how I did that. That's like super easy. That's also optional. You guys don't have to do that. It is tedious. It is very tedious. But anyway, without making this video any longer, guys, seriously, let's get down to business and let's make this little bad boy. It's in sections. I'm going to narrate because you guys love to hear me narrate. But let's get this little bad boy going, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Hola, hola, my little crafty monsters. So this is basically after we've done the structure of the actual house. We're going to go ahead and paint it, and I'm going to paint it this sea. No, it's called Caribbean Blue. And I believe by what they told me that it's kind of like a Tiffany blue, kind of like an aqua. So we're just going to go with that, like a bluish green, right? I can't see it, but that's what they told me. So we're gonna go ahead and paint the whole little structure with this, and this is gonna be the primary color for the whole entire house. So just do one coat and then let that dry, do another coat, and then allow that to dry, and just continue doing that until you are satisfied with the way that it looks, because everybody has different tastes. So yeah. Then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to start doing the little hardwood floors on the top. And we're going to use popsicle sticks. These popsicle sticks, we're going to cut off all of the round part of the popsicle sticks, the ends. And then we're going to glue these little suckers together, and we're going to stagger them. We're going to stagger them to make them look like popsicle sticks. Now, this is not going to be perfect, guys. Just letting you guys know, because each popsicle stick is kind of uniquely shaped, and there will be gaps in between when you do put them together, but for the most part it didn't really bother me that much, because after we lay all these little bad boys out and we cut them, we are basically going to sand them so they're going to be smooth, so that Matthias or Callisto won't get a little splinter while they're up on their little balcony. And also too, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and squeeze hot glue into the little areas that are like pretty big gaps. I'm going to fill in those gaps with the hot glue. And then, like I said, once we sand the paper, the little hardwood floor down with the sandpaper, it's going to basically sand down that little gump of glue that we put in between. So you don't really have to worry too much about that. Now, there's a lot you could do with these, because these are just, bare wood. You could also basically stain them if you want. You can stain them whatever color you want, and or paint them. I just prefer to leave them like this, their natural color. And this is basically what we're gonna do. So like I said, just go ahead and do that. You don't have to do this part. You guys could basically skip this part if you don't want to do the little hardwood floor look. You guys could just go ahead and paint that cardboard on the top, put a little border to make it look nice, and then you're done. But for the most part, I wanted to do a little extra. And Miguel was laughing at me because he was like, "Are you really going to be doing hardwood floors on this little man's balcony?" And I'm like, "Yes, he's my little baby, and there's nothing too good for my little baby." So this is kind of tedious, guys. It is pretty tedious. We laid down about 275 popsicle sticks to make this little hardwood floor look, but like I said, to me it was completely worth it. It's for my little papas, and he'll have fun playing in his little house, because he's a crazy little cat, I tell you. So be careful when you're using the hot glue gun. Trust me, I've gotten burned a lot of times, but we just gotta keep going, guys. So just lay out these little bad boys, and it's just a repetitive. And then after, when we're basically done with this, we're going to get our Dremel tool, and we're going to cut all of the little ends that are sticking out, and we're going to shape it into the size that we basically want. And so this is basically it, completely done. And we're going to get our Dremel tool, and we're going to cut all of those little excess. You could use scissors if you don't have a Dremel tool. Like when we cut the little round parts of the popsicle sticks, we use scissors to cut that. But if you do have a Dremel tool, I'll tell you that this part of the project it's going to be a lot easier for you. So definitely use your Dremel tool if you have one. But if you don't, like I said, use scissors. It's just going to take a little bit more elbow grease and it's going to take a little bit more time to do, but it is doable.
Have you ever noticed that I'm not acting as I used to do before? Have you ever wondered why I always keep on coming back for more?
So this is the part where we're sanding off so that there's no splinters or rough edges. And then after we do this, we're going to make the fencing for the top. And all we're going to do is we're just going to use some cardboard. And I use my ruler and I basically measured the bottom of the ruler to the bottom of the cardboard and I went 2 inches up. And I used the basic, what I used the actual width of the actual ruler, and that's what I spaced out. And then I'm going to close the top and I'm going to close the bottom, X out every other square, and I'm going to cut that out. And that's basically going to be the little fencing part that we're going to glue onto the very top of our little patio where we made the hardwood floors. And it's going to be really simple, guys. I mean, I didn't want to get too elaborate on the fencing. I mean, if you guys want to do like a cute little picket fence or you guys want to get a little bit more elaborate, by all means, you guys, I want to see what you guys come up with. But for me, I just wanted a simple, square banister and fence on the very top. I didn't want to get too crazy on it. So here you're going to see me cutting out every other square, and this is just basically going to make it look like the little windows in our little fencing area. So just go ahead and do that. That's basically repetitive, and we will be right back. Right here, these are going to be the wood panels that we're going to be putting on the side of the home. So I did this the length of the ruler and the width of the ruler. So we're just going to go ahead and make strips, cut these little bad boys out. And these are going to be what we're going to use as the wooden staggered panels in the front of the home. You don't have to do this part, guys. You could skip this part, but if you are going to do this, it basically is any size that you guys want to make those wooden panels. There is no right or wrong way. Afterwards, then we're going to go back to the house and we're going to measure out kind of what's the height that we want the wood to go all around the house. And I chose to go halfway because I want half of the house to be wood panels and then the other half is going to be the stone. We're going to do a stone effect wall. And then, so that's basically what we're doing here. So you just figure out what is the height that you want the wood to be. And then after we got this little bad boy done, then we are going to be able to hot glue those wood panels onto the front, the side, the back, and everywhere where it's going to be wood panel. It was perfect because they were the perfect length. I didn't have to cut them on the back. And right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get each one of those little pieces and I'm going to cut them to the size so that it's just going to be a lot easier just to glue them on instead of gluing that whole piece on and then you have to cut them later. So it's just better to cut them beforehand and then just glue them. So that's all we're doing. We're just cutting them to the size and then we're going to glue the little panels on. So we'll see you guys in a little bit.
Have you ever noticed that I'm not acting as I used to do before? Have you ever wondered why I always keep on coming back for more? What have you done to me? I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure. I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure. I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure.
So once you've glued all of the panels all around the house, basically it should look like this. This is what it's going to look like. All the panels are around the house. And then from this point on, we want to put in our first coat of paint so that this could start to dry properly. And then you'll be able to move on to the next step. But you don't want to pile on too much paint onto your cardboard because remember guys, it is paper and it will kind of buckle when you basically, you wet that top layer of the cardboard. So it's best that you do a light coat. Kind of focus on getting every single little area and don't focus so much of the fact that you could see through the paint. Let that dry, and then once you put the second and the third coat on, then it'll be better. And if you want to put in a fourth or a fifth coat, by all means, it's just basically to your taste. So however you want it to look, that's how many coats you're going to have to put on. So just paint it until you like it. And then what we're going to do next is, after we got this painted so that it'll get a chance to dry, we're going to start working on the fence that goes around the whole top. And I'm sorry that I didn't basically film me gluing this part, but all we did was we just hot glued 1/2 inch to the wall of the front of the house. And we put some popsicle sticks in the back of each gap of the window, and we basically use that to reinforce that wall. And then all we're going to do here now is we're just basically going to start painting the fence white, because that's going to be like I just wanted it to be white. So right here you want to be kind of careful because you've already painted the front of that house and you don't want white paint to drip down to it. So when you're painting it, just be really careful. You could basically paint this before you add it onto your house by all means, but I just wanted to do it this way. So this is basically what we're doing. And like I said, You can paint this whatever color you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be white. This is just the color that I chose.
I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure. I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure. I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure. Have you ever noticed that I'm not acting as I used to do before? Have you ever wondered why I always keep on coming back for more? What have you done to me? I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure. I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure. I'll never be the same, I'll tell you for sure.
So once this is drying and the wood panels for your around the house are drying, we're gonna go ahead and start working on the stones. And we're gonna use basic styrofoam cups. These styrofoam cups are excellent materials to use to make brick walls, to make stone walls, anything that you guys want to do that makes it look like stone. These are basically the perfect material because they're easy to paint, they're easy to break and rip with your hands into jagged pieces to make them look like stones. So all we're going to do is we're going to cut the bottom part of the styrofoam cup, and then we're going to cut that thick rim, and we're just basically going to use the middle part of the cup. And we are going to rip the edges just so that they are jagged and they're not straight. And we're going to cut them into pieces to kind of resemble whatever size stone that you guys want to make. I mean, again, I know I say this a lot because I want this to really sink into my little crafty monsters' heads that there is no right or wrong way. So you just go with the flow, boo boo, and you make this your project, you make this your creation, and you do it however you want. So if you don't want to use this material, if you want to use a different kind of material, then by all means. If you don't want to do a stone wall, then you know, you want to go the easier route, just go ahead and paint it. You don't have to get too much into detail, but I mean, you know, it's just to make it look like a real little home. So that's basically all we're doing right here. We're just basically cutting the little pieces and we're going to make some stone.
Have you ever noticed that I'm not acting as I used to do before? Have you ever wondered why I always keep on coming back for more? What have you done to me?
My God, these little sticky suckers were sticking onto me with the static. So I just said, forget it. I'm going to lay them on the table.
I'll never be the same, I'll tell you
So once you guys have the amount that you guys need to cover the surface that you're going to be putting around the house, all you have to do is just start gluing them onto the front of your home. And what I was going to use was Aleene's tacky glue, but I noticed that it was kind of hard. You had to really stay there for kind of a while in order for it to start to stick. So I used a low temp hot glue gun, and that was low enough to where it didn't melt the styrofoam. So that's basically what we're using here, a low temp glue gun to basically glue all of the little pieces however you want them to fit. I made sure that there was gaps in between the rocks because I want there to be a different color, which is going to be like the color of the grout or the cement that holds the rocks together. So I wanted it to be pretty, noticeable. So that's why I left a pretty good gap in between each rock. So when we paint it, it's a big enough area where I could paint in between the rocks. So just go ahead and glue all of the rocks all around the house and cover all the surface that you'll be covering. Once you have glued most of all of the pieces to cover all of your surrounding area that you're going to be covering, your wall should basically look like this. And then once you have it all covered this way, then you're going to go ahead and paint it in between the area with whatever color you want that grout or that cement to be. So I wanted it to be kind of a really light gray. So what I did was I mixed white with a little tiny bit of black to make it like a gray. And that's basically what we're doing here. I did cover most of all the styrofoam as well too, because I wanted to have, different colors to it. So that's basically what you see me doing here. But for the most part, what I'm really trying to focus on is I want to focus on the middle part. The in between the rock area is what I'm trying to focus on, because you want that part to be painted pretty good, because that's the color that is going to be popping out in between the rocks. And you can choose whatever color you guys want. I just chose to keep it all in the grays. And so that's what we're doing here. We're just basically painting these little bad boys. And then after when this kind of dries, we're going to go ahead and start sponging different colors of grays, different shades of grays onto these rocks to make them look a little bit more realistic than than just like a piece of styrofoam. And once you got that little bad boy done, it should basically kind of look like this, all covered. So this is it. I'm still gonna have to paint all around the rest of the rocks, but for the most part, that's the front, and we got a lot more to go, guys. Here's a little overview of the whole entire house. This is the little round room. Isn't it cute? We're gonna put some white frames around the windows. I'm sorry I'm not gonna film that, but all I did was just cut whatever size of the windows and I made a little frame. This is the back part. We still have to put like a little border around where the rock and the wood panel meet, and then we're also gonna put a little border around the edges of the home so that you don't see that opening between the wood panels. So we're gonna kind of make it look kind of like a real house. So this is basically the whole view in the front. We're gonna have to touch up some areas with that Caribbean blue again, but it's okay. It's okay. It's not something that is not doable. Now we're gonna go ahead and start sponging the rocks. And so I used an old sponge and I just painted a little bit of light color. I let that dry, and then I'm gonna go over with a darker gray. So I basically used three shades of the grays. There's that really light gray that we painted, which is the same color of the cement in between the rocks. And then I went a little bit darker and I sponged it all around the rocks. And now I went even darker than that, and that's what we're sponging right now. So it's just basically gonna give it kind of like a little 3D effect. And you're gonna do that throughout the whole entire house. So basically your rocks should look kind of like stones. So now we're gonna basically work on the borders and the little corner part of this house. And so you're basically going to be using some cardboard to cut that out. And you could cut it out whatever size you guys want. It doesn't really matter what size you guys do it, but I mean, when I'm saying size, I mean like the thickness. If you do it like super thick border going all the way around, or you do a small border, I mean, it's whatever it is that you guys want to do. Right here, I think all I did was I used kind of I want to say it was an inch border. And so we're going to hot glue that to the corner. We're using two different pieces, one for the bottom part and one for the top part. And you're not going to be able to see the two pieces that are separate, because we're also going to put another border that's going to go around the house that covers the wood panel and where the rocks meet. You guys will basically see. It's kind of hard for me to explain because I don't know the proper terms for each one of these pieces, but yeah. So that's what we're doing here. So once you've glued the little corners of this all around the house that you need, then you're going to have to start making the little borders that are going to be going in between the, whatchamacallit, the wood panel and the rock. So this is basically the last piece that we're basically gluing onto our little home, and then we're going to start working on that part. So this is basically already the last piece that we're gluing on the corner of each of these. There's 4 corners, so this is the last corner that we're doing. And then now we're going to use a piece of cardboard, and like I said, we're going to cut strips so that these are going to basically be the borders that are going to go in between, well, between the wood panel and the rock. And this one right here, what I did was I cut this to, I believe it was about 3/4 of an inch. And then I cut 4 of those. And then I cut another one that was smaller than that. So I cut it about a 1/2 inch. And the little 1/2 inches, we're going to glue those on top of the 1/4 inch. I mean, the 3/4. Oh my God, I can't even talk. The 3/4 of an inch of the little strips, we're going to glue the small ones on top of that. And that's basically going to be so that it'll kind of look like a little step look, and it won't be so plain, you know, like a flat surface. So that's basically what you're going to see me doing here. So we're just going to go ahead and cut out all these strips. And then after, like I said, we're going to go ahead and glue the smaller strip on top of the thicker strip. And that's just to give it kind of like a step sort of look. And that's just so it's not just a flat surface. Just to give it a little bit more of a something to look at, you know, because most of all panels, I mean, all of the little borders, or what are they called? Like, I don't want to call them crown moldings, because aren't those for the inside of a home? But anyway, we'll call them moldings. So we don't want it to be too plain. You want it to kind of look cute. So that's what we're going to do here, guys. Once you got all these little bad boys glued, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start hot gluing them onto the home. And then once you have all of these borders glued onto the home, all you have to do is just basically paint them white. Be really careful not to get any white on the stone or any white on that Caribbean blue. But if you do, it is only paint, and you could always retouch it up with some more paint. So you guys don't stress out. Remember, this project is supposed to be fun, not a job. So make it fun, guys. Make it fun. Don't make it a task. And then after we finish gluing all of these little things around the house, we're going to start working on our roof. And on the roof, all I did was I cut a piece of cardboard that was about an inch bigger than the whole entire roof on the top of this house, so that there was about an inch of a lip that goes all the way around. So that's basically what we did here. And then I used some craft tape to basically seal off that very top corner where the cardboard was naturally opened, which I think it was like the flat parts of the box. So this is that inch, and then there's that the craft tape. So then all we're gonna do basically is just attach our little shingles that we're going to be making for this house. We're going to be attaching that onto here, and I will show you guys how that's going to be done in about a second. But for the most part, everybody has construction paper, so let's go get our black construction paper and let's start the process of our shingles, my little crafty monsters. So this is the Recollections black construction paper, 65 pound, that we're going to be using. We're going to basically cut this in half to 4 1/4. Oh my god, what is up with me and the measurements today? So 4 1/4 of an inch. Sorry, we're gonna go ahead and cut those halfway, and we're gonna basically use these. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but we're gonna basically use these as shingles. And originally, I was gonna do these little scallop look, but then I said, no, forget it. We're just going to go ahead and cut them. So I just used my ruler and I marked every 2 inches. So these shingles are basically 2 inches. You cut them at 2 inches and you go as high as you possibly can, but not all the way to the very top because you want them to still stay attached. So you go ahead and cut all of these shingles, and then after we have all these done, we're going to go ahead and we will be attaching these to the roof. So now we're going to go ahead and attach them to the roof. We basically used, I believe it was 4 sheets of paper for each side, each panel of your roof. So these are the shingles. We're going to go ahead and glue these onto our roof part. And because we're gluing paper onto cardboard and cardboard is made of paper, we're just going to use our regular Aleene's glue, which is my go-to glue. And it'll be strong enough to hold these shingles in place permanently. So this is the glue we're going to be using, my little ladies and gentlemen, and let's start gluing these little bad boys onto the roof. Now originally when I started gluing these guys, I was gluing them and I was letting a little bit of the shingles hang off, and then I thought to myself, I'll just cut them. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, no, there's a way that we can position this to where we won't have to really cut any of the black paper. So it's just basically, you know, positioning it properly. So the first 2 rows of shingles, I do have them kind of overlapping, and in my head I was originally going to cut them, but then on the other side I did them where I didn't have to cut anything. I just put them, you know, I met the corners up with each corner, if that makes sense. It made sense in my head. Right here you see a little bit of the cardboard peeping out. Don't worry, we're just going to get a razor blade and we're going to cut that down, and you're not going to be able to see it because the shingles will basically hide it, and then the little border that we're going to put around the roof is going to also hide it. See right here, I'm just basically kind of lining them up. And this is the part that I was telling you that I really liked um, how it was making it look like there were real shingles, like real shingles. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was cute. But like I said, you guys could basically do whatever you want. You don't have to do the shingles. You could do some other kind of design. And once you have all the shingles put onto your roof, it's basically going to look like this. The way I got this effect was I went ahead and I got a paintbrush, I'm telling you, I cannot talk today. This new year has me twisted. So you get a paintbrush, a dry paintbrush, and you put a little bit of white and you do like this little speck kind of effect with your finger. You basically brush the brush off with your finger and it kind of does the little specks. I'm pretty sure you all know how to do this. So I used some white paint and then I later on made a little bit of a light gray paint and I did that. And that just basically kind of gives it that little specks, kind of like a real shingled material. Um, like I said, if you guys are going to do the little shingle look, this is the way I achieved it. But if you're not going to do it, then you guys can basically skip this part. But this is our little roof. This is what it looks like. Isn't it cute? So then after we do this, what we are going to do is we are going to make the little strips, the little borders for the edge of our roof. And I don't really film myself gluing these, but that's basically what we're doing here. And I just made them 1/4 of an inch. So I made 1/4 of an inch and I made that for the little border that I'm going to put on the edge of the roof, just to give it more of a cleaner look. And I'm going to go ahead and paint that white as well. And so that's basically what we're doing here. So now right here, you see that little border that we put around the roof? That's basically what we were cutting. And we painted that white. We painted all of the borders white. So it just makes this house look so cute. There's a specked little shingles our little stone wall. And then now we're going to basically just work on the little staircase for our little Matthias and Callisto to go upstairs to their patio area. Now, I don't know how to make staircases. Honestly, to tell you the truth, this is the first time that I ever made one. So we're going to use some thick popsicle sticks. We're going to use these cardboards, and I use the length of the width of the ruler as a separating, like, you know, that's how I use it as my guide. And then I'm going to cut a slit on the very middle of this. And I'm going to cut several slits, kind of how I have it diagonal, those lines. And that's where I'm going to stick the popsicle sticks in. And then I will cut some cardboard that is the length of, I guess, whatever width we do of the little stairs. And then I'm going to glue those on top of the popsicle sticks. So that's basically what we're going to do here in these steps. And it's not really hard, but at the same time, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just going with the flow and figuring it out. But this is how I did it. And so here it is where I'm sticking those popsicle sticks through the little slits that I did. And remember, because I use those lines, the guides, they're slanted. So when I put it kind of upright, how it's supposed to go, those are going to basically be little steps. We're going to glue the cardboard on top of these popsicle sticks. The popsicle sticks are just reinforcements. It's just so that if we were to just use cardboard, there's a chance of the cardboard folding or bending in the middle with the weight of these little chubby cats. So these popsicle sticks are just reinforcements. That's basically all we're doing. So now that we have this done, all we're gonna do is just attach this to the house, and we
Hello,
are
my little
basically
crafty
done,
monsters.
my little
Welcome
crafty
back.
monsters.
Welcome back. That's how easy it was to make this little box home. Now, it was time consuming, but it was super easy, guys. You guys saw that. It really doesn't take a lot of imagination to make one of these little bad boys. If you guys want to make a dollhouse for one of your kids, one of your grandkids, a niece, a nephew, a friend, anything you like, baby, or maybe you just into the little dollhouses yourself. Whatever. You guys can make one of these. If you have a little furry friend, a little kitty, a little puppy that you guys want to make one of these for, how freaking adorable is that, right? Definitely try to make one of these, guys, even if you make it really simple or elaborate like this one. I definitely want to see. You guys definitely have to share with me. That's how easy it was, seriously. And all we did was we just used some hot glue. Dude, you can't even talk, boo-boo. Get it together, Jesse. So we used some hot glue gun, okay? We used paint, styrofoam, glue, and that's it. Popsicle sticks. That's it, really. I believe we all have that in our home, crafters. And my little crafty monsters, if you come and tell me that you don't have any of this materials in your home, I'm going to be very disappointed. Very disappointed. Because all of my beautiful crafty monsters would definitely have cardboard, hot glue, construction paper, and popsicle sticks in their crafting stash. Everybody should be having this. But anyway, even if you don't, it's really cheap to go get it. So anyway, this is how easy it was, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button as well as that notification, because you guys want to get notified every time I upload a video. Hello. You guys don't want to be missing out on these fabulous videos, and don't forget to share and tell a friend, because your friends also need to know how fabulous these videos are. And definitely, if you guys make one of these little bad boys, please share it with me. I want to see what your guys' little village looks like. Some of you might even get a little bit more elaborate. You know, even decorate the inside, paint the inside, do some little wallpaper kind of little motify kind of thing. Could you imagine doing like girl, why didn't I do that? You didn't even have to get crazy. All you had to do was glue some DSP paper in the back, make it look like wallpaper, and he could have had a fancy little hallway right here. But Jesse thought, no, you know, you don't want to do paint, so I didn't do paint, but you could have did paper. Anywho, for the most part, I'm pretty sure Matthias and Callisto are going to destroy this, so I'll probably end up having to do another one. And like I said, I'm definitely going to do like a little hotel one. That one, I'm going to do all the measurements. It's going to be super easy. It's going to be mostly paint, you know. But nevertheless, I'm going to do the measurements on that one, and that basically will be kind of like the building structure if you guys are going to try to make something like this. And like I said, guys, I hope you really enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. And hello 2019. What a great way to start the year, right? With a video like this, a whole hour. I hope you guys didn't get bored. Anyway, I'm not going to make this video longer for you guys. You guys definitely stay tuned for more videos. We have all the Valentine videos coming up next. So definitely, guys, definitely stay tuned. And goodbye for now, my little crafty monsters. Till next time.